Now the hottest day in Britain this century was on August the 9th, 1911, when the temperature reached over 100 degrees. And my mother was in labour over me. And I was born early the following morning on August the 10th, 1911, and I was 12.5 pounds born. And my mother only weighed 7.5 stone. So she was pretty hot under the armpits. It was such a rough time that she took one look at me and said, take him away, I don't want him, I don't want him. Well, that wasn't a very good start, was it? I think I spent the first fortnight with my Aunt Mabel, and she was a whiskey tippler. Anyway, eventually we became reconciled, and I was christened. I was christened Albert. Well, my brother was born in 1913, so we spent our young lives, growing up years, during the First World War. And we spent a lot of time at my grandmother's. But the First World War altered life for everybody. At first the men volunteered to fight, but in 1916 conscription came for every able-bodied man, and everybody in the street where we were living, all the men had gone, excepting those excuse me, in reserved occupations such as miners, musician workers, engineers. And I know the women got very, very jealous of their husbands earning a good wage when the poor old Tommy only got a shilling a day for going over the trenches, over the top. And the generals in the First World War, instead of having medals, they ought to have been shot for sending the troops over with a bayonet, thousands upon thousands at a time, that the Germans mowed down with machine guns. Terrible. Millions were killed that way. Also, a lot of the women back home took men's jobs. Women drove tram cars, buses, became postmen, and there was rationing. We used to get, England was a great importer, still is. Meat came from the Argentine, tea came from India, Ceylon, Assam, Danish bacon, Danish butter, meat from New Zealand, it all came by sea. And the German U-boats, the submarines, were sinking the ships as they came over. So they had to have ration books. And ration books were made up in pages. You got 2 ounces per person a week of sugar, 2 ounces per person a week of tea, all on separate pages, and the grocer used to cut them out like that. Cheese, 2 ounces a week. Bacon, 1 ounce of bacon a week. If you wanted a pound of bacon, you had to save up 16 weeks for 16 coupons. Anyway, as I said, we spent a lot of time at my grandmother's, and I remember one soldier called Gus Collinson. He came home on 7 days leave, and he wanted to marry May. Now, my mother got 4 sisters. There were 5 daughters altogether. But my grandfather said, no, May's too young, marry Doris instead. He wanted to get rid of Doris. So he married Doris by special license, and went back and was not seen again. He was shot to pieces. But she had a child after 9 months afterwards. And my Aunt Doris drew a widow's pension for over 60 years. She's only known him a few hours. 60 years.